26th.
In this week's Compute This, why you should upgrade to Windows 7 before then.
Thor Schrock is the owner of Schrock Innovations, and he joins us every Monday. Thor, good to see you.
Thor.
Good to see you guys.
Good
Have I
morning.
confused you yet?
Well, not yet. You will, though.
I am. You know I am.
No, you're going to clarify this.
Yeah.
Windows Vista, why upgrade to 7?
Okay, so let's give a timeline here. We've got, everyone knows Windows XP. That came out back in 2001. Windows Vista came out in 2007. Windows Vista was supposed to be Windows 7, but they couldn't get it done in time, so they just released it anyway. You know,
Right.
what we would all do, right? And then they released Windows 7 2 years later in 2009, and now that's what everyone primarily, when you go buy a computer at the store, that's what you get right now. A brand new version of Windows, Windows 8, is coming out on October 26th. That's next month.
So don't wait for 8, go
Well,
7, or
This
Windows
is what
8.
I don't understand. If I have a 2008 car, I'm not going to go ahead and get a 2010 before I get a 2013.
Right, I understand. The big difference here is Windows 8 is a radical departure from the way that we've used computers before. Windows 8 is Microsoft's attempt to unify one operating system for tablets, for touchscreen laptops, and computers and touchscreen computers. So in Windows 8, there is no start menu anymore at the bottom.
Yeah.
There's no start button. There's no circle to click on that pops up a menu on the left the way we've all been trained to use our computers for the last 12 years. There is no desktop anymore. So when you turn on your computer and you see all the icons, you don't see that in Windows 8. You see tiles, kind of like a smartphone.
Yeah.
So it is very, very, very different. Now, most people who use desktop computers or have laptops that are not equipped with touchscreens will get absolutely zero benefit from Windows 8. It's no faster. It's no better.
It's just different.
It's extremely different. It is going to be a mind-bendingly frustrating experience for about the first 2 weeks you use it.
Would you relate this, because I also have a Mac, would you relate it, because the transition from a PC to a Mac is extremely different as well,
Yeah.
when you're using, would you relate it to that?
For a Mac user, to put it in perspective, let's just take away your Mac OS and give you Ubuntu, a Linux distribution. And that would be, it's a graphical interface, it's just a different graphical interface.
Right.
It's more similar to Windows than Mac. But, Mac OS is built on a Linux base. It's
So-
built on a Unix base.
I don't have a Mac. I have a Dell or whatever we have at home. Getting Windows 7 then, it's not a touch screen, it's just a standard
Yes.
old computer we've had for a few years. Why do I need to get Windows 7 now instead of waiting until October 26th when Windows 8 comes out?
Okay, when Windows Vista came out, like I said, it was rushed. Windows Vista is actually a server operating system that they put a consumer face on. So you were using a car analogy. Well, let's say you bought a 2010 Mac truck that just had the body of a Ferrari on it.
She's been shopping for one of those.
And now you have the opportunity to take that Mac truck and trade it in for something a little more fuel efficient, maybe like a Ford F-150 or something. And Windows 8 is the brand new car that doesn't have a steering wheel. It's all steered by touch.
So your point then is for somebody like me, Windows 7 is the best choice. I don't
Yes.
want Windows 8 even when it does come out.
Yeah, if you don't have a touch-enabled system,
we
it doesn't do
don't.
you any
Doesn't do
good.
good.
But the thing is, once Windows 8 comes out, Windows 7 is going to get increasingly harder to find. What a lot of people don't realize is Windows 8 is cheaper. Not only cheaper for consumers to buy, it's about $50 for a consumer to upgrade, 40, 50. For an OEM like us to put it on a computer, it's about $50 cheaper. So when we put this together, it's going to cost us less to build a computer with Windows 8 than it would to build a computer
And
with
that's why
Windows
it'll
7.
be harder to find Windows 7.
Everyone is going to move, all the manufacturers are going to immediately go to Windows 8. Microsoft's no longer going to put Windows 7 on the shelves. The only place you're going to be able to buy it is at custom shops, and eventually our supply is going to dry up.
So that's why the time sensitivity of doing it
Yes.
before the end of October.
Absolutely.
Right. Let's talk about the process, upgrading from Vista
Yeah.
to 7. What's the process like? Is it
Okay.
difficult?
The actual upgrade is pretty easy if everything goes swimmingly well.
Right.
How often does
That's
everything go
right.
swimmingly well?
Right.
Never.
But basically, with Windows, when you're moving from Vista to Windows 7, there's a little program called the Windows 7 Upgrade Advisor that we run on the computer to make sure that you, for example, some software that works with Windows Vista doesn't work with Windows 7 and won't work with Windows 8. And so if you're going to upgrade to make your computer 20% faster, which is what would happen going from Vista to 7, or to make your laptop's battery last about 20% longer, which would happen going from Windows Vista to Windows 7, we want to make sure that we're not costing you $700 in new software. We want to make sure your printer's compatible. We want to make sure that everything you have is going to work with it. We want to test your computer to make sure we're not putting a $250 upgrade. Normally it's $400, but we have it on special through October 26th for $250. But if your hard drive's bad, why you want to spend $250 on your computer? So we got to check all that too.
That's a very good point. I did a operating system upgrade, and it voided some of my previous software that I put on there. So that's a good
Yeah.
point.
And what about some of the files and things that are on my computer? Does all of that roll over with Windows 7?
Going from Windows Vista to Windows 7 is a seamless upgrade. What's really neat is it's not like back in the old days where you'd have Windows 95 and you were upgrading to 98 and it would just throw the files in the same folder and overwrite the ones that needed to be overwritten. So you
Right.
kind of had this Frankenstein hybrid. Well, with Windows 7 upgrades, it installs a clean copy of Windows 7. Then it migrates all of your programs and all of your files into that installation and then deletes the old installation of Vista from the hard drive. So when you come out of a Windows 7 upgrade, everything should just work. Now, there are some minor changes. You know, in Windows Vista, you had the Windows Live Mail that came as part of the, or Windows Mail that came as part of Vista. Now you have to go to Live Mail in Windows 7. So there are some small differences, but nothing like what you're going to come up against going to Windows 8.
Real quick, I bring it in. How long is it going to take, and the cost? I know you mentioned it a
Yeah,
little
it
bit.
takes about 2 days to get the whole job done right on our bench. We only charge, we have a special, normally the software runs about $200 for Windows 7, which is why it's so much cheaper to go to Windows 8 at $50
Yeah.
compared to $200 for Windows 7. Come on, I mean, but it's about $200 for the software, and then it's also usually 2 hours of labor on our bench. We've knocked $50 off the software and an hour off the labor.
Wow.
So it's on special for $249. It's actually usually $400, so you're saving quite a bit of money.
And
It
then
can
you-
actually prevent you from buying a new computer. For a
And then you
couple
don't have to
months.
mess with the install, because that can be a pain.
And it's warranted.
And if
it's
you know what
warranted,
you're,
yeah.
I don't even know what I'm doing, so it's not like I would mess with it. I wouldn't know where to start. I'm not kidding. Village Point South is where you'll find them. Also in Papillion at Highway 370 and 72nd Street, and also in Lincoln as well. That was the original location. Online at SchrockInnovations.com. Quickly, this special, how long does it last until the launch of Windows 8?
We
or
are
how long
running
are you
it
doing
through
it?
October 26th because at that point we don't know how many more copies of Windows 7 we'll be able
You'll
to
even be able to
buy.
get. That makes
no,
sense.
That's
Yeah.
incredible value, though. Thanks
Thank
for
you for
bringing
being here and
Hey,
for
no sweat, guys.
informing us.
it with us.
Not always
Is your
an
brain
easy.
all warmed up?
I'm going to have screws popping out of ears and smoke coming out of
Just
my
eat
nose.
some
in
of
a minute.
the banana Foster and you'll be fine.
Trust
It
me,
smells
that's part of the
delicious.
plan,
Oh my
doesn't it?
gosh, my
I know.
stomach's growling.
Thank you. So Thor, join